Darrell Shelley sought the nomination for the Conservative Party of Canada in the recent federal election for the riding of Long Range Mountains in Newfoundland, Labrador, and he is alleging a rigged nomination process and internal corruption within the Conservative Party, and he joins us now. Darrell, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Richard. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for reaching out with your story. It's no surprise that internal party politics in this country are basically, it's the Wild West. There are really no rules, and widespread allegations in the nomination process of vote rigging, ballot stuffing, and so forth. So tell us what happened. You were seeking the nomination for Long Range Mountain in Newfoundland, Labrador in this recent election. What happened?
Yeah, so again, thanks for having me on the show. I've been listening to you a lot more since Andrew Lawton stopped doing his thing. I was always trying to catch him as well, but congratulations to him. But
yes.
I love your monologues. I love what you're saying today. And, you know, when you look at what we have versus what we could have had, is the Conservative Party a better option? I mean, I'm a conservative. I would like to say yes. You ever open a Pandora's box and go so deep that you probably wish you hadn't? It's kind of where I got with this. I am a former People's Party of Canada candidate. I want to just put that out there so everybody knows that in 2021, I did run federally. And I want to make that clear that didn't impact my decision on what I'm about to tell you, but people will look at it that way. So I left the People's Party. I didn't like the contract that they presented me for the agreement they were presenting me to maintain as a candidate. They had a clause in there that said that they could fly in a candidate and take me out anytime I wanted. And I said, well, I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of a party that has a constitution, a party that has leadership races, a party that has a board of directors and a national committee that can oversee decisions so that things are fair and transparent. So I started volunteering with the Conservatives, getting involved when Pierre Poilievre first came to our region, which is Western Newfoundland Long Range Mountains. I think that was in 2022, 23. He came 4 times. I met him each time. And I had a group of people that had followed me from the other federal election and some provincial stuff I had been dabbling in. And I'm a pretty well big spokesperson and advocate for local community issues, fought up against turbines that were being put in without a social license in our region, things like that. So I've been in the news before and I'm kind of a spokesperson. So people were wondering, what are you going to do? You have a bit of a following. I said, well, I'm going to throw my name in to the race for Conservatives. I went in there completely naive thinking, okay, you know, this should be a fair process. Thought it would be. I did the application. Well, it took, at first I was sort of courted by this Atlantic desk representative named Steve Kent. And he said,
excuse me, Darrell, just explain, what is the Atlantic desk? What does that mean?
Okay, so the Conservative Party has different people that handle nominations in different regions. And the person in charge of selecting the nominations or overseeing the process in this region, his name is Stephen Kent. He's, anyways, I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a second. But anyway, he's supposed to oversee the process, but the process is supposed to be regulated mainly by the local district association, which is known as an EDA.
Yes.
So he's only there to guide, help with forms, help with formalities, and then present the applications of the candidates to the head office. And the head office can then make their decisions, and they may disqualify you for a bad tweet. They may disqualify you because of bad financial records, a criminal history, who knows. But they're there to make sure that you can get your applications submitted on time and make sense. So he was like, he was telling me there was this other candidate. She's previously won. And I didn't want to talk about this before the election because I didn't want to affect the election. I wanted her to win in this region. Her name's Carol Anstey. She won the region. There's one of 2, and there's one being contested now in Terra Nova, possibly 3 Conservative ridings, but 2 for sure in the province. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to throw people off. But what happened was I signed up a bunch of people in a very short period of time. And then I was told to go get signatures. But the signatures for the people that I had signed up weren't good enough. They had to be 3 weeks old. So I didn't know that, but I didn't have a list to go off. So I had to literally just call random conservative people I knew in the riding and ask them if they were conservatives and if their memberships were up to date, which was almost impossible. I got about 40 or 50 signatures, and I wasn't sure if they were valid or not. So I called them to head office and got this lovely girl on the phone named Maddie, and I don't know her last name, but she was really helpful. First time I called, she said, you can check the numbers. So I checked the membership numbers, and I got up to 28. Second time I called, I got up to 28. I needed 25. Verified numbers. I recorded all the calls with head office, so I would have them for my records for my application in case there was ever an issue. Had everything ready to go. Sent it off to head office thinking that we were good to go. Turned around, they came back and just said, your application's incomplete. Went back into the portal online. This time I'm texting frantically the Atlantic Desk representative, Steve Kent, to try to find out what happened. He's stonewalling me now. He's telling me he's busy. Now, all the other times he'd pick up the phone as soon as I called, right? Now he's just too busy all of a sudden. I'm freaking out. I spent $1,000 of my own money, plus I signed up a bunch of people. They all spent money. I thought, okay, this isn't right. Something's wrong here. Maybe it was a technical glitch. Maybe because I went over the application and had other people look at it with me and smart people with legal backgrounds and so on. So we knew we were right. But I said, maybe it's a glitch. Maybe something's wrong with the system. Checked it out, went through the whole thing. Nope, your application's incomplete. I then logged back into the portal. I sort of reversed the password and went back in because it's a WordPress site. It's not that hard to do that. And it went in and it said 25 valid signatures missing. So this led me on a journey of breadcrumbs where I started from Newfoundland. I flew to Calgary. I was going to attend an event there with Tucker Carlson, Jordan Peterson. I spoke to a whole bunch of conservatives there, including some elected MPs that are currently MPs. Not going to say who they are because I don't want to. Right. They were nice enough to meet with me. And they told me, like, if there's somebody already picked, then there's not much you can do. Just sort of bite the bullet and wait till the next term or the next term after that or whatever, if there's a by-election. I said, well, that's not really good enough explanation. Then I changed my flight back to Newfoundland and stopped into Ottawa because I was getting nowhere with head office. And I was sending them messages like, I'm going to call a lawyer. I'm going to sue you. Like, I was calling them on the phone. I'm like, I want my money back. This is ridiculous. I'm not afraid of you guys. I don't need to toe no line because I'm not a candidate yet. So I want my money back. This is fraud. I got to Ottawa, finally got a phone call back from Jeremy Liedtke, who's his name is actually spelled Lied. Anyway, it's funny. Director of Political Operations under Michael Crace, and he was also a part of Poilievre's campaign in the past. Anyway, he finally gets on the phone with me. I said, can I come down and see you today? He said, where are you? I said, Ottawa. I changed my flight. Spent like thousands of dollars on flights and going around the country here. He said, no, I don't have time. I said, you don't have time to shake my hand for 5 minutes? Does somebody else have time? No, you don't have time. Okay, so what can I do? He's like, well, nothing. You're disqualified. I'm like, why? What did I do? Did I just give me a reason? He wouldn't give me a reason. So I wrote a letter to Michael Crace, Trevor Bailey, Jeremy Hollingsworth, Stephen Barber, Matthew Conway, Tim Sawyer, Christina Mittas, who are all people on the National Council, hoping I would get somewhere. And it's been over a year, and I've still yet to hear a response. I went and hand-delivered them to their office. Some young kid named Syros came out and took them, didn't shake my hand. Nobody wanted to meet me. Everybody refused to talk to me, and I've been stonewalled ever since. And that's my portion of it.
Okay, so you gathered the required number of signatures. They DQ'd you from the nomination process. For some reason. Is it possible they found your prior affiliation with the People's Party somehow objectionable, or as you indicated to me, you were involved in the truckers' convoy? I think you described yourself as the caboose of the convoy coming in from Atlantic Canada, which was great. We had people coming from the west and then from the east and so forth. You also, as you mentioned, were one of the first to be interviewed by the National Citizens Inquiry. This was the inquiry into the government's overreach in during the COVID so-called pandemic. Do you think any of that history can explain why the Conservative Party decided to push you aside?
I'd love to believe that, but it's not the case, since I had these conversations with the Atlantic desk representative and members of Poilievre's circle beforehand. When I had met him, I spoke to his handlers, the people that take care of his tour. They knew I was a former PPC. Actually, one of them came up to me and said, "You're Darrell Shelley, former PPC candidate." I guess they do their research. I said, "Yes." They, "What are you doing here?" Maybe thinking I was going to throw up a sign or something. I said, "No." I said, "I'm here because I have a membership now." And became friends with that gentleman. He was good with me. I won't give his name, but anyway, they were all good people, and I thought everything was going well. Until I found out that the Conservative Party doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have a soul. This is where the application was not even sent to the HQ. And if the HQ had looked through my things and come back and said, like, your application was processed, but we didn't like something you said, or a video or a call or a podcast, I would have been like, well, thank you for the information. Still to this day, no explanation. So, what I could say when I say the party has no heart and soul is that I really wish I didn't go down the rabbit hole as deep as I did, because I started to actually find out more. The other candidate who was running against Carol, Robbie Coles, I ended up campaign managing for him. His application went through. They asked him, when should we do the nomination? During the nomination meeting, they have this call with the candidates to talk to them to try to make it so that there will be voting stations that everybody can get to. So if somebody's away on holidays or working away, they try to accommodate that. The moment he works offshore, the moment that he got on the oil platform to go work, they pulled the nomination. He was working 12 nights, 12-hour shifts with no access to cell phones, trying to get on Wi-Fi calling with me at night while I was calling people on the list that he was given to try to get them to go and vote for him. And they put the polling stations up to an hour and a half away from regions where there were support, including the Port-au-Port Peninsula, where there was a big thing about the wind turbines, that I had supported those people. Nothing up the coast from where he lived. So people had to drive in a snowstorm in the middle of winter in Newfoundland up to an hour and a half to go vote, where the other candidate, they put the polling station, which is our nomination meeting, in her hometown in a hotel managed by her family.
And she's the incumbent, correct?
Yeah, she was the incumbent. Well, she had lost the previous election, but she had ran in 2021.
The incumbent nominee then from 2021. So is it?
Sure, yeah.
It sounds like they decided that from the get-go that she was going to be the nominee, the process be damned. Is that a fair
Yes. And I blamed it on Steve Kent at first, and then I found out in this election that just happened, I sort of let it go at first because I didn't want to interfere with the Conservative Party. I wanted them to win. But I really hope that we can... The only way that they're going to win is if they clean up their own house. If they don't clean up their own house, I think we're going to have the same result next election and the one after that. And what I'm about to tell you will sort of explain what I mean. They didn't just do this to me. I've got a list of 23 candidates that this has happened to. And some of them I've spoken to. And some of them have reached out to me. I found out, and this one was public knowledge. It was in the mainstream news. It was in CBC as well. So this is not just a local thing. It was a big story. Jessica Babb, a lawyer from Avalon Peninsula, and Brandon O'Brien, a Coast Guard captain, were both campaigning to be nominees for this election for up to 2 to 3 months. I think Jessica had done 10 weeks and signed up over 500 people. And
this is in the riding of Avalon?
In Newfoundland, yeah. And guess who ended up becoming the candidate with no explanation whatsoever? The Atlantic desk representative, Steve Kent, became the candidate, sent an email to them saying that you're disqualified, no reason whatsoever, and he lost by 12,000 votes in the region. All of the volunteers, here's a quote from her brother, and I actually spoke with her brother. Her brother, AJ Babb, said, "This is not democracy. This is not the positive change that Canada needs. We will be voting for anyone but Kent in the upcoming election and would encourage you to do the same." This was on his social media. So all their volunteers, all their grassroots, all their signage, all the people, to sign up 500 people requires a team of volunteers. It requires time, it requires money. I don't know how much they spent, but none of those people voted for Steve Kent. So that district was, as far as I'm concerned, sabotaged to lose from the beginning. So
why would they do that? Why do you think the Conservative Party allows this to happen? Not that it's isolated, I think, to the Conservative Party. We saw, the Prime Minister in Nepean the Liberal Party pushed out a long-standing incumbent to make room for Mark Carney. So this goes on probably in all of the parties, but we're talking about the Conservative Party right now. Why do they do this?
The problem that I have with it is not that it's not appointing a candidate. I understand if the bid is dropped, you need a candidate. You get one. I get it. But why are you stringing people along for 2 to 3 months? I have records here of people who've been strung along for up to 18 months in this process. I can tell you names of people that have had 2,000 people signed up. Mike de Jong in BC, former finance minister in the BC legislature who was elected 10 times, had signed up 2,000 people and was told he was disqualified for no reason for this Conservative nomination in BC. For no explanation. He spent, I don't know, 100 volunteers, maybe 50 volunteers at least to get that going, thousands of dollars. So why don't they just say right off the bat, listen, we don't want you. We don't want Mike de Jong. We don't want Darrell Shelley. Yeah. We don't want whoever.
I get it. I get just because my time is short here, Darrell. Yeah. But any insights as to why the Conservative Party would sabotage itself this way?
Yes, and I think sadly, the bottom line is I think it comes down to money. I think it comes down to greed and money, and I think that some people could be profiting from this. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of an interview that Dr. Keshav Mandati, who is in Mississauga, East Cooksville, did with local media called thepointer.com. And he's also done it on I think it was a Hindi YouTube channel called Awaz Entertainment. It was hard to find it, but I found it. He was alleging in both of those news stories, if you want to call them that, that I'll just kind of read it here. Mandati says he was told in November that an upfront payment of $50,000 for an appearance by Polyev at Mandati's Mississauga home would help secure the nomination, with another $50,000 to be paid after the event, which was targeted for December. That phone call was made to him by Alex Osorio, who is the Ontario representative. He was also told by somebody from HQ named Stuart Kiff that he should hire Stephen Sparling, who's a consultant, and Dr. Mandati paid him $5,000, and then soon after they wanted more money, and this went on to dinners. They wanted to pay him to pay for gala dinners. He said he ended up raising over $60,000 for the party before he gave up, and then they just sent him a letter saying he was disqualified for no reason. Actually, the exact same email that I was sent, I seen a copy of it. He was told his application was incomplete, and this just happened. These things are. In April 4th was when the article came out in the Pointer. I've got Garrett Van Dorland, who was disqualified this was a by-election, though. This was in 2023, according to his views about being pro-life. Rachel Gilland and Sabrina Amato in Aurora Oak Ridge's Richmond Hill have gone public. There were 3 candidates in Scarborough at the Scarborough-Gilwood Rouge Park: Ashan Fernando, John Collado, Rob McCullough, who are stonewalled. And then Suchian Jalan was put in place, who lost by another almost 20,000 votes.
I got to sort of wrap this up, Darrell, but it sounds like you're saying they use potential nominees to raise money for the party. Then when they are finished raising money, they basically disqualify those nominees and then insert the people they want anyway.
That's where the heart and soul comes in, and that's where you lose your membership and you lose your trust. BC, Charles Borg, Martin Baker. I mean, there's so many names.
Darrell, leave us. Sorry to cut you short, but just leave us with a website or a Facebook page where people can find out more about these serious allegations.
Sure. What I'll do is I'll take what I've done here and I'll email it to you for your records as well, with the links to the articles that I've found and some of the private conversations with the people I've spoken to. I don't know if they would want to come on your show or not. That's up to them. But I'll put it on my Facebook page. You can find me on Facebook, Darrell Shelley NL, or just Darrell at darrellshelley.ca. My name is spelled with 2 R's, 2 L's, Shelley. All I'm trying to do here is suggest that some people need to be cleaned up from the party, and that goes right from the top. So, I mean, some of the names: Michael Crace, Jeremy Leedke, Jeremy Hollingsworth, Jenny Byrne, Stuart Kiff, France Rand, who's a senior desk representative, Steve Kent, Atlantic desk representative, Alex Osorio, the Ontario desk representative. These are all names that have come up in my conversations with some of these people that have had this happen to them. Now,
okay, I'm already like way over time here, so unfortunately, sure. I have to cut it short. But I'll put the link to your your Facebook page in the episode notes when we publish the podcast, and people can find out more. Darrell, very distressing to learn all of this, but thank you for sharing it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I hope that the party can do something to clean up their executive so that we can have a chance to win the next election. Otherwise, you're going to have really pissed off EDAs and members all over the place that are going to be working against the party internally, and we're going to come up with the same result in the future.
Thank you so much, Darrell.
Thanks, Richard. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Darrell Shelley, former Conservative nominee, seeking the nomination out in Newfoundland.